pandemic has changed the way we do business. It's forced us to be adaptable and innovative. We're hosting an event to celebrate that spirit, but it's also jam-packed with key networking opportunities, invaluable knowledge sharing, and a number of awards that recognize true innovation in the Canadian channel. ITWC presents the CDN Channel Innovation Awards Conference, featuring the top 100 solution providers.
Hello, I'm Fawn Annan, CEO of ITWC and Chairman of the Canadian Channel Chiefs Council, known as C4. Welcome to the CDN 2021 Channel Innovation Conference and Awards. Well, 1 year ago, when we were in the middle of putting this event together, the pandemic hit. Our carefully laid plans for a live event with a band and champagne were dashed. We quickly set to work with a virtual event without a roadmap, but I knew I could count on the creativity and technical expertise of our team to pull it off. I remember we thought it was so clever to have one of our sponsors delivering their message from their kitchen over coffee. Well, that was so unique at the time, but now seeing an executive on a video call from a kitchen table or dining room with children running in the background doesn't even raise an eyebrow. And when was the last time you saw a tie? Well, the world has changed. If the last year has taught us anything, it has affirmed that Stephen Hawking was right when he said, intelligence is the ability to adapt to change. So this afternoon, we're going to celebrate the individuals and the companies that have embraced change, pivoted, innovated, and thrived. When some individuals were wondering how much longer it would be until they got back to normal, the organizations we are celebrating recognize normal really didn't exist, if it ever did. And they set out to find a new, and I dare say it, a profitable way forward for themselves and others. The past year has been pretty hands-on for most of us. There have been more meetings, innumerable video conferences, and sadly, fewer opportunities for us to celebrate together. With the conference this afternoon, we're going to offer an opportunity for changing the routine. In fact, we are offering a 3-in-1 experience, panels and presentations, offering intelligence you can use to prepare for the next round of changes, an opportunity to jump into a breakout room for much needed networking. And we're sharing the stories of the innovative initiatives and the top channel companies that will chart the course for the channel into the future. So there's really a lot to celebrate. So bear with me as I take my little streamers and blow. Congratulations, everyone. So let's get started. Here's Corinne Sharp, President of the Canadian Channel Chiefs Council.
Thank you, Fawn. Thank you, everyone, for attending what we hope is the perfect mix of business and pleasure. Today is actually my wedding anniversary, so thanks so much for being part of our anniversary party. For those of you who are looking for the big reveal of the top 100 ranking, it's coming soon. For many of you who are dying to see who is going to be crowned Data Management Master and the new normal ninja, that's coming soon too. And if you are anxious for the intelligence that's available, that will be sprinkled throughout the show like confetti, digital confetti. We're going to try and move along quickly, but if you've never been to a CDN or ITWC virtual event, there are a few things you need to know so you can get the maximum benefit. One, on the platform below the viewing screen, there's a rich selection of relevant downloadable material from our sponsors. Newsletters, future events you can register for, and a social media window where you can take part in all the live conversations using the hashtag CIA Awards. Number 2, there's a snack bar sponsored by Samsung. Visit and you can download a $15 Uber Eats gift card, or you can donate $15 to Food Banks Canada. It is a continuing mission of ours to provide food security for those people and families that have been hit so hard by the pandemic. Unlike the buffet, when our events were live and I had to wear shoes, there's no going back for seconds. Number 3, just above me, you'll see a ticker featuring a selection of the top solution providers of the year and their ranking. Can you find your organization? Note I said a selection of the top solution providers. The top 10 will be revealed later in the show. Number 4, just beside me, you'll see the event messenger. It will feature interesting facts throughout the show, but it will also display your questions. If you have a question for a presenter or panelist, simply ask your question in Twitter using hashtag CIA Awards and a question mark. That will make it show up there. Now, one more thing. We could not have put this event together without the support of our sponsors. And for that, we all need to thank Ingram Micro, HP, VMware, iLand, WattServe, Okta, Samsung, Usonic, and Centrion. Please check their downloads on the CIA TV platform. Now, speaking of sponsors, it's my pleasure to welcome Bill Brendel, Country Senior Executive of Ingram Micro. Bill is a longtime supporter of this event and an enthusiastic champion of the Canadian Channel Chiefs Council, including support for this event. Bill is going to make some opening remarks and introduce our guest speaker. Bill, over to you.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Bill Brandel, the Senior Vice President and Country Chief Executive here at Ingram Micro Canada. I want to welcome you to this year's Channel Innovation Awards, where we will unveil the top 100 solution provider rankings. You know, this is the second year that I've had to bring remote greetings on behalf of my team. And while virtual events have come a long way, let's hope that next year we can gather in person to celebrate all these great efforts and the tremendous results of our peers. You know, it is interesting that being apart for this last year has made us acutely aware of just how much we need each other in this channel. I think we all knew that instinctively, but working our way through the challenges of this pandemic, we have seen a number of instances where a deadline could be met or a challenge resolved only when we worked together. It's not all been rosy either. As you'll see in the CDN benchmark report, a snapshot of the channel based on the ranking survey, there's a lot of movement in this year's ranking. While a full 25% of the top 100 companies recorded revenue increases of 20% or more, other 25% of those top 100 reported a revenue drop of 20% or more. Those are huge swings for any operation to manage through. You know, I chuckle to myself when I hear someone say something fantastic like, well, that's life in the new normal. In my opinion, there is no new normal. There's only today, tomorrow, and constant change. And that change is only going to accelerate. So if you're hoping for a return to the pre-2020 business world when masks finally come off, I'm sorry, that's just not going to happen. But let's get down to what we're here for. Regardless of how you did or where you think the channel is going, I invite you to join in the celebration as many of your colleagues take home the Channel Innovation Award or are recognized as some of the top solution providers in Canada. I also urge you to pay special attention to the information that is shared by the experts today in our panel discussion, a fireside chat, and analysts from IDC and Deloitte. This should be a perfect afternoon of fast-paced mix of business and pleasure. And I am telling you right now, Ingram is so pleased to be able to work with all of you on this great event. You know, my only ask is, why not send out a tweet using the hashtag CIA Awards to let us see how you're celebrating today? But to kick off this event and the content for the day, I'm pleased to introduce Duncan Stewart, Deloitte Canada's esteemed Director of Research, Technology, Media and Telecommunications for the past 14 years. While he doesn't have a crystal ball, he's got the next best thing, data. And he's gone through a pile of it to offer his educated guess on where we are headed with cloud, IoT, and edge computing. Over to you, Duncan. Got my notepad ready. Let's get rolling.
Hi, I'm Duncan Stewart, co-author of Deloitte's 2021 TMT predictions. I want to start off by talking about radio access networks. The RAN, as it's normally called, is up until now always been closed and proprietary. There are 5 vendors out there and they own like 99% of the market. And if you buy gear from, for example, Ericsson, you're not allowed to swap in gear from other players at the same time. Now, the industry, the technology, the telecommunications industry has seen this story before. We've gone from closed and proprietary ecosystems to open ones at the PBX, at the LAN, at the data center, inside software. Every time we do this, you see a bunch of benefits from moving from closed to open. Normally, things get much cheaper, the pace of innovation increases, and you get no new vendors. Now, the disadvantage is that you now, as a telecoms operator, need to integrate your own solution, but that is something that you can do. Accelerating the move to the open RAN in 2021 and beyond is that there's been a number of requests from governments around the world to rip and replace gear from certain, mainly Chinese manufacturers, and that's providing a new opportunity for open RAN to gain a foothold. Further, there's a bunch of greenfield operators, people who don't have legacy networks, who are building new ones. In those cases, what we are seeing is there's an increased willingness to take a look at open RAN. What's the core of our prediction? Well, Deloitte says that the number of Open RAN, which was 35 last year, is going to go to 70 in 2021. That's a doubling of the market, and we're really excited. The next topic I want to talk about is the cloud. Now, I know that sounds boring. Everybody in the room knows about cloud. Duncan, talking about cloud. Okay, the exciting bit is the cloud is growing at 30%. Well, actually, that might not be that exciting to you. Didn't the cloud grow at 30% in 2019 too? That's true. The exciting part isn't that cloud grew at 30% in 2020. It did. The exciting part is that cloud grew at 30% when non-cloud shrank double digit. That led to a complete flip. According to research that we've seen back in 2019, boy, that feels a long time ago. Back in 2019, about 40% of all the enterprise compute workload around the world was done in the cloud. That was growing and growing rapidly, but still a majority was done on-premise. By 2021, 2 short years later, we see a complete flip. 65% of enterprise processes are now being done in the cloud. Now that's public cloud, private cloud, hybrid cloud, multi-cloud, all the different flavors. But it has been a remarkable thing where we have seen 2 years of digital transformation occur in just a short period of time. There's lots of supporting data points here. Cloud traffic is up. Cloud companies, did you know in 2020, cloud companies, cloud ETFs, they did twice as well as the NASDAQ and 4 times as well as the S&P 500. Fantastic numbers. Cloud CapEx is enormous, about $150 billion in 2022. Just enormous numbers when we talk here. Now, it's 2021. Sustainability is the word of the day, and a lot of people worry about the energy consumption of the cloud. So let me make 3 points. First of all, the cloud is almost always more sustainable and emits less carbon than doing something in real life. Next, doing something in the cloud is always more energy efficient than doing it on premise. And finally, the cloud is getting more and more energy efficient itself. There's a chart I'm looking at here of Google's power usage efficiency. Google's data centers, these are the big data centers all around the world. Back in 2008, 2009, they were about 80% efficient. 20% of the energy went for cooling and air conditioning and backup power. That number, 20% inefficient, is down to 10 in 2020. They have halved the inefficiency of their data centers, and every year it drops by about a point or 2. Now, there's a couple of other things that are going along in the cloud right now. Some of my clients, I've been talking to people for months now, and some of my clients used to be cloud cautious. Oh, Duncan, we're worried about the cloud, and we're worried about, pricing and vendor lock-in and security and cyber and all of this stuff. And you know what happened in March and April? We were forced to go into the cloud. And you know what happened to us, Duncan? The world didn't end. Yes, of course, we need to be concerned about security and all of those issues and sovereignty, but we discovered those are manageable issues. We've been kind of thrown into the deep end of the cloud pool, and you know what? It wasn't so bad. And they're telling me that they are not going to retrace their steps. Although cloud spiked up in 2020 due to the pandemic, they are not going to go back to their 2019 levels. As a matter of fact, on their roadmaps, on their digital transformation journey, they are planning an accelerated growth, which is why Deloitte believes that cloud revenue growth can continue to grow at 30% or so, not just in 2021, but 2022, 2023, 2024. The final topic I want to discuss is kind of really related to the cloud, and it's about this thing called the intelligent edge. Now, here in Toronto, I might be talking to a data center that's located all the way down in California. What's that, 8,000 kilometers away? Or maybe I talk to a data center in New York, it's a few hundred kilometers away. Or I might talk to a data center that's just around the corner from me. When we place the processing power within a few dozen kilometers of the end user, that's the intelligent edge. We are predicting this market will be $12 billion in 2021. That's up more than 100% from where it was in 2019. Now, at first, most of the spending we're seeing in this intelligent edge, putting the data processing closer and closer to the user, we are seeing most of that spending from the cloud hyperscale providers and the telecom companies, but not individually. Rather, they are doing it in partnership. Obviously, the hyperscalers need to move the processing closer to the users for reasons I'll discuss in a second, but they don't have all the relationships and the physical points of presence to locate that intelligent edge machinery there. So for now, at least, I would say 60-70% of all the cloud intelligent edge spending is coming from partnerships between telcos and hyperscalers. Now, that could change over time, but for now, that's kind of where it is. Over time, it then expands into other industries like manufacturing and so forth. At this point, somebody always says, Duncan, I don't understand what the intelligent edge is. Can you explain that to me? Yeah. So for consumer applications like gaming in the cloud, AR, VR, video streaming, webinars, for those sorts of things, those consumer applications, you want to put the processing as close to the user as possible in order to reduce latency. But let's talk about some of the enterprise applications. Drones inspecting power lines to see if trees are in the way. You need to do real-time processing there. Financial services, robots in factories. Let's talk about an airport. Let's talk about Pearson. Let's say Pearson's doing real-time facial screening to detect, known terrorists. Why would I want to do that in the intelligent edge rather than in a data center thousands of kilometers away? Well, the first one is latency. You really want, people are walking through the airport all the time. You want that decision-making done rapidly. That's number one. Number two, you really want to worry about the cost of data transmission. Sending pictures, high-resolution videos and pictures of millions of travelers' faces would cost an arm and a leg. By moving that processing closer, you reduce your data transmission costs. Critical, though, is resilience and autonomy. This is an airport. You don't want to just let terrorists wander around if the network goes down. So it's incredibly important for many enterprise and industrial applications to do it. Why? Once again, latency, resilience, and cost. There are others as well. Inherently, when you do something at the intelligent edge, it's more private and it's more secure. Plus, you don't need to worry about data sovereignty. I don't need to worry about sending pictures of Canadians off to the US and stuff like that. We anticipate that this is not a replacement to the cloud. Instead, the intelligent edge works hand in hand with the cloud. It is a process that's been going on for years. We expect it to continue growing. Just between us, if this isn't a $100 billion a year market by 2030, I'd be surprised. It's happening in the real world. There's a port in Asia that's moved to the intelligent edge. They were able to reduce labor costs by 70% and productivity increased by 30%. So there's an ROI, there's a return on investment from the intelligent edge working with the cloud. So those are 3 of the selected topics from Predictions 2021. We have 6 other topics, and there's a lot more depth on the website. Please feel free to check it all out.
Thank you, Duncan. That was so much to think about. And a panel made up of channel leaders is going to dig deeper into some of those ideas in about 45 minutes. But right now, I'm going to turn to one of my colleagues on the Channel Chiefs Council, Luc Villeneuve, president of Benchmark Corp. He served as one of the channel innovation judges. Hey, Luc, how are you? Luc, you're on mute. Luc, you're on mute. Okay, well, we'll have to get back to Luc later. Let's go instead to our first of our sponsor messages. Confetti. Please welcome April Marshall, VP Consumer and Supplies at HP.
HP creates technology that makes life better for everyone, everywhere. Through our products and service portfolio of personal systems, printers, and 3D printing solutions, we engineer experiences that amaze. Today, HP, a publicly traded company, operates in 180 countries, employs 50,000 people, and has over 200,000 channel partners worldwide. This past year has been an extraordinary year for everyone. HP has been focused on delivering solutions for businesses and families as we shifted to work, learn, and create from home. This focus will continue as consumers and businesses further evolve into hybrid work and learn environments. HP's ambition is to be a brand for purpose. As the pace of change in business and technology accelerates, so too will the need for companies to lead with purpose. To succeed over long term, our vision and goals must be ambitious. By 2030, HP intends to become the most sustainable and just technology company focused on climate action, human rights, and digital equity for all.
Thanks, April. The CDN Top 100 rankings have been a fixture of the channel scene for 15 years. Not only does the ranking provide an opportunity to recognize the top channel players, but the confidential information collected is used to build a snapshot of the channel ecosystem, which in turn serves as great intel and an opportunity to tweak your planning based on the information available. Everyone who is attending the conference today will receive a copy of the benchmark report sponsored by Okta, and it will be part of tomorrow's thank you note. Or you can just go ahead and download it from the platform right now. Here for a deeper discussion about the trends that the 2021 benchmark report surfaces is Alex Koop, Editorial Director of Channel Daily News, in conversation with Michael O'Neill, Principal Analyst with Insight as a Service.
Thank you very much for the introductions, Karine. And thank you, Michael, for joining us this afternoon. Each year, Channel Daily News creates a detailed snapshot of Canada's leading IT solution providers. CDN collects and analyzes submissions provided by Canada's leading IT solution providers, and those are managed service providers, cloud solution providers, system integrators, borrowers, and IT consultants from across the country. We're going to take a few minutes today to chat about some of the results of our benchmarking survey data, but before we do, Mike, please introduce yourself to everyone watching.
Michael O'Neill, Principal Analyst, Inside AAS. I've been, as many of the folks who will take time to watch this video know, I've been doing channel and other IT-related research for many years in the Canadian and North American and global markets.
Thanks for that, Mike. And let's actually just start peeling through some of this data. Not much has changed since last year when it comes to respondents indicating how they label themselves. Most partners still describe themselves as value-added resellers. There's a slight bump in the number of partners calling themselves managed service providers. And then there's also some nuance into the solutions that they're indicating that they're selling. So, Mike, just right off the bat, what does the initial data there tell you at a glance about the makeup of the channel ecosystem in Canada?
If you look at the results of the top 100 business model question in your survey, about 75% of your top firms self-identify as VARs or MSPs, both of which would have a reasonable mix of services and resale revenue. This is a little higher than would be expected in a random sample. And, for comparison's sake, I'm going to reference some research done by TechIsle, a US-based research firm, in the first quarter of 2020. And in a random sample of 800 odd channel partners in the US, they found about 56% of partners in one or the other of the VAR or MSP category. So relatively smaller and more firms that you'd expect to have sort of lower annual revenue bases, including cloud service brokers or CSBs and IT consultants. So, I think we're really focused on a top end of the channel in Canada that is tied meaningfully to some legacy business models around infrastructure provision, infrastructure sales. The Canadian channel as a whole would include a much larger number of even smaller firms that that are services centric, either cloud services centric in the case of CSBs or consulting services in the case of IT consultants.
It seems like solution providers, they checked every single box that had to do with cloud, but I wonder, how mature do you think the Canadian channel partner ecosystem is based on what you've seen, people you've talked to around cloud deployment? I'm just kind of curious what your thoughts are there.
The survey results indicate that a fair number of channel organizations at the top of the Canadian industry have embraced that. And 70%, 72% are offering cloud infrastructure, although for some reason only 48% of that same group of respondents reports that they provide infrastructure as a service. Nearly 70% are providing cloud storage. Somewhere between 60 and 70% state that they're offering one or more public, private, or hybrid cloud. The real number for Canadian channel members providing some type of access to cloud services is probably a little higher than these numbers suggest, because there aren't a lot of cloud service brokers or CSBs included in the sample population. But the hybrid number, just to pick on that one, of 67% is way high. There aren't 2/3 of Canadian organizations today using seamlessly a combination of cloud and conventional infrastructure. There's no way that 2/3 of channel providers are providing support for something that is far less prevalent than that in the end user market. So it is a really daunting challenge for the channel, but I think the results are encouraging in terms of, 70% of the folks that you surveyed saying, yes, we've put stakes in the ground and we're moving our businesses in this direction that opens the doors into the future.
The next thing I wanted to talk about on that note is hiring plans. So it's good to see that more than 90% of partners are expecting to hire within the next 12 months. But then I look at the emphasis they're putting on new security hires. And I can't help but my first thought is, unfortunately, good luck with that. Am I wrong to think that, Mike?
No,
or is there enough talent
right
to go around right now to make those dreams a reality?
You're dead right. There aren't that many security people out there. As the saying, which has been around for a long time and will be around for a long time, goes, the unemployment rate in IT security is and will remain 0%. It's very hard to compete for top-end security talent if you're a small business, because the security challenges and the insights that you build in your career are just greater if you have greater scope of activity. And, as we just said, many of the Canadian channel organizations are fairly small. They're dealing with fairly small customers. And it's just going to be hard for those organizations to compete effectively for a scarce and high value skill set.
I was curious what you thought about some of the M&A activity that's been happening over the year to build out skill sets that address some of the items that you were just mentioning, and in order to be able to sell certain services or to be able to, to be an expert at something. Of course, you need those skills, you need those you need the headcount. I'm just curious, do you see any trends or kind of any indication as to which one of these two strategies seems to be panning out the best for the Canadian market specifically?
In the IT industry generally, there's been an emphasis on large companies using their balance sheet basically to do acquisitions rather than to do R&D. And I mean, we've seen that with companies like Cisco and IBM at the very top, and I'm not surprised that we're seeing that. My guess is that in the channel, you would find a clear majority of owners of channel businesses in Canada today who would very happily accept any reasonable offer for their business. Enterprise value of channel organizations over the last 15 years has really collapsed. From, there was a time, the early part of the last decade, mid part of the last decade even, when you could expect, not that valuations are based on revenue, but you could expect an offer of about 3 times or so what your company was doing for revenue in terms of its valuation. I'm really looking forward to having this conversation again in a year so that we can see just how quickly that uptake has occurred within the top 100 community.
We want to thank Michael O'Neill once again for taking the time to chat with us today about this year's benchmark report. There was a ton of info there that you can peel through even further on your own by downloading the PDF on the CDN TV platform. Also, a big thank you to everyone out there tuning in today, but it's time to head back to the show. So we're going to head back to Deidre Deacon of Usonic, who will introduce our next award winner.
Thank you, Alex. For all of us working in the IT and AV channel, the past year has been both a challenge and a test in resilience. For us at Usonic, the strength of our partnership has enabled us to successfully navigate these challenges. The Usonic brand promise has always been to deliver extraordinary performance, value, and support. Today, it couldn't be more rewarding for us to be at the forefront of hybrid work and hybrid education markets. Usonic will lead the workspace transformation by presenting solutions to our partners that allow for a hybrid work environment that supports productivity and collaboration anywhere. In hybrid education, Usonic is leading the EdTech transition to hybrid with MyViewBoard, the fastest growing digital learning software. With this year of strong growth under our belts, we're going to be doubling down by increasing our investment in digital learning. For over 30 years, we've been committed to providing extraordinary visual solutions that inspire and engage. As a committed channel company, the future is filled with opportunity for our partners as we prepare to launch a new channel program filled with digital assets, training, lead sharing, and new service enhancements to help bring solutions to your customers in a different way. As we move beyond the most challenging year in our lifetime, we take pride in helping our customers collaborate, communicate, and create. Our focus is bringing people out of the pandemic and into a brighter future with an unmatched breadth of solutions and support. Usonic is proud to once again support the CIA Awards, and I'm honored to present the award for remote work and collaborative spaces. As we look forward to the second half of 2021 and beyond, companies will need to balance the remote environment and return to the office experience. Boardrooms will need to be retrofitted with interactive visual options that maximize collaboration between all members of hybrid teams participating from any location. It is impossible to underestimate the value of empowering virtual teams with collaboration, content creation, and delivery tools. But when workers return to the office, whether it at 25% or 50% capacity, they have to feel safe. And that was the goal of our 2021 Remote Work and Collaborative Spaces Wonderkind as they worked with a BC partner to develop the Return to Office app. Launched initially in a government office in Victoria, the app helps government workers in BC maintain social distancing in the workplace, whether that be in a cubicle or an office. Please join me in congratulating the 2021 Remote Work and Collaborative Spaces Award winner, Esri Canada. Let's roll the video and see how this app is helping employees breathe easier, knowing they have avoided contact with a COVID-infected person.
Returning to an office environment carries more weight for certain organizations than others. For the Government of BC's Geographic and Services Branch, or GOBC, getting back into the office was about a lot more than just convenience. GeoBC has been around since 2010. It creates and manages geospatial information and products to help the province manage its natural resources. Esri Canada and GeoBC have been partners for many years, according to Nancy Leash, Director of GeoBC. And in order to keep doing the work that's expected of them, access to their headquarters is essential. That's where Esri's Return to the Office platform comes in. It's an interactive, smart dashboard providing a high-level understanding of how many staff can safely return to the workplace according to social distancing requirements and the unique configuration of your floor plans. It strips away any personally identifiable data and restricts who can view the collected information to only those who need access. Last year, with Leash and teammate Gurdeep Singh leading the way, Return to the Office helped GeoBC manage its workforce of 62 people in a 3-story building.
Remote working is wonderful as an opportunity, but perhaps not as a rule. So what we're finding is teams do want to get back together. We have historical imagery that we look after for the province that is in the scanning phase. Those scanners are on site and they can't be moved, so staff do need to come in and do scanning. There are databases that can only be accessed behind a firewall, that they have to be on site in order to access them.
With Esri's Return to the Office app fully implemented within GeoBC, the hope is to have it adopted by other BC government departments. Esri Canada founder and president Alec Miller says the subsequent rollouts of their technology should be pretty smooth.
BC has been a real pioneer in this, in part because they realized that they needed to work with us to do something simple. And the big advantage of our technology is they already use it and they already have people who know how to use it.
The federal government's Public Safety and Procurement Office has some of its offices in BC. Miller says they've been using Esri's mapping technology to track the movements of its workers indoors for some time. Esri's more sophisticated ArcGIS indoors platform adds another layer of functionality to manage a workforce in a large building, allowing administrators to monitor automation and air ventilation systems as well as other asset management operations. One of the biggest customers of its ArcGIS indoor solution, Miller says, is Facebook.
So we're working with a lot of large organizations right now, including airports who need to track for security. The biggest buyer of ArcGIS indoors in the US has been Facebook for security, mapping all their premises inside because they have enormous security problems. Here, the federal government is looking at it because they map over 27 million square feet of office space. So they're going to really have to do all of this themselves as well to get people back to work.
Congratulations to Esri Canada for earning this year's Collaborative Workspaces Wonderkind Award.
Well, thank you very much for this award. GeoBC has been a long-time user of our technology and has used GIS outdoors for managing infectious disease spread like bird flu outbreak in BC a number of years ago. Gurdeep Singh was a critical part of that. But now it's been moved indoors as organizing how people work and move and relate to each other indoors. So we're very grateful to Gurdeep and Nancy for all the support and all the work they've done at making this a success, and look forward to continuing to work with them as we try to get back to work over the next several months. Thanks again.
Congratulations, Esri Canada. That's incredible. We're going to hear again from Alec Miller in a few minutes as part of our panel looking at coming opportunities in technological advance. But first, here's another C4 colleague, Romain Lemerlu, CEO for North America at Centrion, to present the award to the 2021 Data Management Master.
Hello, I am Romain Lemerlu, co-founder and chief executive officer of Centrion North America. Centrion is a global provider of IT monitoring from cloud to on-prem, application to the edge. We ensure always-on operation and performance for our customers. With our partners, we cut cost and complexity out of the IT stack, empowering innovation and competitive advantage. I am excited to be here on behalf of Centrion as a sponsor for today's awards. As Alex mentioned earlier, success in 2020 depended on how you position your services around the pandemic. Were you able to pivot to meet the needs of the new remote workforce? Did you leverage a cloud or security offering to support the latest drive to digital transformation? You're going to hear a little bit more from me later about the way Centurion faced the storm and what we have in store for the future. But right now, I have the pleasure of introducing the second Chanel Innovation Award of the afternoon, the Data Management Master. In the increasingly digital world, organizations that can find value in using the data they collect to better understand their customer and their respective problems are the most likely to succeed. This year, the Data Management Master Awards recognizes a state-of-the-art data initiative that helps ensure New Brunswick first responders can get to an emergency scene in a timely fashion. The 2021 Data Management Master is Esri Canada. Here is a video describing the initiative in greater detail.
It's not a stretch to suggest Uber and Pizza have a better chance at finding a precise location than many first responders. The current 911 infrastructure in Canada is outdated, to the point that most responders can't find people using cell phones. To accommodate mobile users, the CRTC is overhauling its emergency management with a March 2022 deadline. NG 911 is slated to introduce a faster, more resilient system allowing voice, data, photos, videos, and text messages to flow from the public to 911. One of the provinces ahead of the curve, according to Esri Canada's founder and president, is New Brunswick.
In 1997, New Brunswick passed legislation that was really pioneering and created their own agency for 911 to aggregate local data from municipalities into a province-wide map, which they then sent to Bell. They have continued to extend that into the next generation of 911, which is using IP devices, mobile phones. Key to locating a mobile phone, of course, is its GPS. GPS has no context, it's just the latitude and longitude. So it makes the streets and addresses and building locations far more important to give emergency responders context. So New Brunswick has just been a superb partner in helping us build out the real-time updates of these maps on a daily basis.
Moving to digital maps greatly improved the first responders' ability to paint a picture of a community. However, they were still rarely updated, and the data format populating these maps wasn't standardized. Diane Pelletier, the province's Director of 911 Services for the Department of Justice and Public Safety, says the relationship with Esri Canada dates back to the early 2000s. Pelletier, with the help of Esri Canada, developed the Geo Foundation Exchange, GFX. It's a cloud-based geographic data repository platform that automates the daily collection of any data changes. An updated local digital map is available twice a week for everyone. So, for example, when there's a month-long road closure, delivery vans or ambulances looking at that map know to avoid it.
When Esri described this new GFX tool, I saw it as a more streamlined and efficient way of still receiving the data from our service delivery agents, our municipalities, our partners, and then we would be able to quality control the data, make sure that there wasn't any missing attributes, and we could incorporate it into an authoritative provincial road network.
Pelletier says she and her team feel a lot more comfortable knowing first responders have the right tools to respond to people.
Master data handling is tough in any organization, but when you spread it out across multiple organizations, it's going to be over 5,000 municipalities that have to be coordinated. We're very grateful to New Brunswick for being such an excellent first user of this. Thank you very much for this award. It's very meaningful from such a prestigious organization with such a large reach across the country.
Congratulations once again to Esri Canada for earning this year's Data Management Master Award.
Congrats, Esri Canada again. Let's see if the button on my confetti gun works this time. Did it work? Okay, well, Esri, you're on quite a roll this afternoon. But now we're going to shift gears for a moment and move to our panel discussion. Wait a minute. Oh, okay. Speaking of switching gears, I just got word that we've got Luke back. Maybe his internet got knocked out at the storm, so he's in his car in this work from anywhere world. Luke, how are you?
I can't hear you. I can't hear you. There's too much noise. I can't hear you.
Luke, you need to turn up your sound. It's too noisy.
I can't hear you.
Luke! Okay, I guess we'll catch up with you later. While I check on Luke, I'm going to turn you over to Bill Steed, Vice President, Sales and Business Operations for Ingram Micro, who will introduce the panel. Luke, are you?
While futurists and analysts can dish out some exciting or downright scary visions for the future of technology, we need to remember there are no future facts. Recently, we have seen how something as simple as a virus can absolutely disrupt even the most carefully created plans. Even if there are no future facts, uncertainty will present opportunities. To explore those near future opportunities, we have gathered today some channel leaders for a conversation. This is a group that keeps its feet to the ground, but its eyes firmly on the opportunities of the future. We'll start by getting to know each of the panel members, and I will ask each of you to introduce yourselves. And I would also ask you to share one tech innovation or opportunity you believe channel companies are overlooking. Let's start today with Ted.
Hi, my name's Ted Malucci. I'm the president at Smart One Solutions. I took a path of entrepreneurship after an almost 30-year career as the CIO for a large real estate developer, so that's been interesting. The biggest opportunity that I believe is overlooked is that of collaboration. Just as we talk about network effect, that, one person in a network, as soon as there's a second, we increase the value. As soon as there's a third, we further increase the value. And I think that's very true with a lot of the technologies and the innovations, specifically when we get to AI. The more data sets, the more things you combine together, the greater the value creation is. And I still think that there's a need in the industry for more collaboration, more openness, more companies realizing that they're not able to do everything. And by combining offerings, we can create something that's even more powerful and more valuable to the end user.
I'm Robert Lee, and I'm the Director of IT for Ingram Micro Canada. I've been with Ingram for over 20 years, and I can tell you that a lot has changed from a technology perspective during my time here. The question of innovation or opportunities, it's an interesting one. I think in this day and age, the investments in technology has probably increased over year, and companies already know how valuable this can be. Emerging technologies for things like AI and RPA, machine learning to blockchain will be things to leverage and how they can be incorporated to enhance functions within an organization. Streamlining processing functions, automation, faster processing can be beneficial for every company looking to either save costs or do things faster and better. So I would think that any one of these items can help.
Yes, thank you. My name is Alec Miller. I'm the president of Esri Canada, a company that I founded over 37 years ago. So in all the time that I've been in this, I see a lot of tech that's overlooked tends to be something with a very advanced use case that is not really being used. And for me, today, it's organization to organization collaboration. We're seeing a lot of people-to-people collaboration with things like Microsoft Teams or in the consumer space, Facebook. But when it comes to an organization sharing its database and sharing its transactions, that's not happening.
My name is Jason Cassidy. I'm the CEO of Shiny Docs Corporation. We provide massively scalable analytics, automation, and search to finally address the overwhelming problem of corporate document and file sprawl across geographies and systems. The thing that we're ignoring most often is the actual value that we're trying to achieve out of technology and an innovation. For example, we'll look at the recent advances in cryptocurrency, and there's a lot of people addressing Bitcoin right now, but they're looking at it in more complicated ways than it needs to be. The value that I perceive of this is the fact that my customer, if they're going to pay me $5 or $5 million, they can have that money to me within 5 minutes to 20 minutes, and there's no intermediaries for the transaction. There is no bank to say that you're not allowed to do that, and there's no government that says I'm going to scrutinize it. that is the true value of that technology. But we get so wrapped up in, well, should it be an investment or how should it be regulated in other ways, that we forget about the simple thing that we're trying to achieve, and that is this instantaneous transactions, so that we don't have banks babysitting millions of dollars for us for 4 days while we're waiting to get paid.
Thanks for that. The exponential growth in data we are witnessing has the potential to touch every business and every individual, on the planet. Within 5 years, they're forecasting 50 billion smart connected devices in the world. Are we at the beginning of a digital revolution? And what are the significant opportunities for harnessing the data? I'm going to stay with you, Jason, and I'd love for you to start the conversation.
Thanks for starting with me, Bill. This really hits home to us because from a technology point of view, that we are all so focused on what bucket should I put this in? Should I put it in SharePoint, or should I put it in a bigger system like an OpenText or an IBM? Or can I get away with doing this or that? Which, back to the value conversation, is the wrong question. What do I need out of my data? Do I need it to align with my assets? Do I need it to align with my transactions? If I'm a legal firm, I need it to align with my particular matters and make it findable. There's nothing about those value conversations that says you got to put it over here versus over there. So data first, the data use should come first.
Yeah, I think this is such an amazing opportunity. And I'm actually going to share something that we are doing. We're actually collaborating with universities across the country. So we've got 4 universities across Canada. And what we've done is actually created the bucket where everybody puts their data. And everybody labels and throws their data into the same bucket. The power becomes the fact that now we have data from different sources all sitting in one spot that can now be integrated and work together with. So example, we can take energy systems with home automation systems, with healthcare devices. We can mash all that data up. People can read it from one spot, and the possibilities become endless. The key to this, though, all is that can people collaborate, share a data set, label it in a meaningful way, apply machine learning and AI, and then the world opens up.
It's incredible how fast data is growing. And as you point out, the Internet of Things and the sensor network more generally is producing data at a rate that's just nothing short of mind-boggling. When I started in this business almost 50 years ago, as barely out of my teens, I was a surveyor, and it took us like a day or two to collect one XY coordinate at one point. And now we're streaming them in at 1 hertz from millions and millions of vehicles. We're collecting billions per second. So the growth has been nothing short of astounding. But that said, I think we're just at the end of the beginning. We're now reaching the point where there's going to be liftoff.
There's been a lot of talk recently about artificial intelligence, and some have even suggested that AI will power the 4th industrial revolution and really bring about the same kind of change that we saw with the invention of the computer. I guess my question for all of you is, do you agree with that? And where do you believe are the immediate opportunities in AI?
What are the things that we cannot deal with today, like climate change or economic change or social change? It's too big for us to understand. So I think we'll see AI applied to wicked problems that we can't solve today, even slowly. The climate is changing faster than we can even track it or model it. So I think that's the real value of AI.
It's going to be just the ability for the things that we want to do to go way faster. The problems that we can't solve right now with our current computing power, with our pencils and with our minds, we don't have to go out on site like Alec used to do. Now we have the rapid digital transformation of intake of data, and we have the systems that can now make inferences on the data, not just calculations, and then act on those inferences. So that's what I see it as. It's like the bicycle for the brain. It's just going to make the things that we want to do go way faster, and I certainly don't fear it.
Right now, in terms of immediate opportunities, it's really about automation. I think Alex and Jason just touched upon some of that stuff, but the automation portion of what companies deal with from a manual work effort is quite high. We see it day to day, right? And so as AI comes into play, the more that we can take out that repetitive step-by-step process that people do today is going to be beneficial.
The place where I think we're deficient right now is actually thinking strategically. Like the worst thing you can do with AI is look at it from one single problem perspective versus how do I create the structures that enable? Because it's literally limitless. So if you start from the understanding that you're trying to create something that's limitless versus I'm looking at one specific scenario and you start to design to that. So I still think there's a long way to go in terms of, where to store data, how to classify data, how to unify data, how to bring different things together. Because the more pieces we bring together, the more powerful the outcome. But the key to it is there has to be a strategy, and it has to be a thought out approach, and there has to be the right infrastructure to have that enablement there.
As you all know, 5G cellular network technology promises to give us faster, smartest, absolutely more stable networking from a wireless perspective. What opportunities do you believe this innovation will drive? And Ted, maybe you can share some thoughts with us as a starting point for discussion.
Well, I'm going to say the good and the bad of 5G. The good for 5G is I think it becomes the absolute enabler of the smart community or the smart connected city. It's high bandwidth, it's low latency, it enables things that would not be possible without it. The downside of 5G is everybody thinks 5G is this magical, glorious transmitter at the top of the world and it's going to make all our lives hallelujah, but it's not. 5G actually requires twice as much infrastructure because it's using higher frequency. The distances are shorter. So you need twice the number of cellular antennas to be able to deliver 5G. Well, who's going to pay for that, right? And then I think the other side of 5G that people aren't aware of is that 5G doesn't like penetrating buildings. So all of a sudden, we're going to start to have in-building cellular issues because it's not penetrating anymore. It wasn't really designed for that. So it's definitely an amazing change. Technology has got to play a big role in our future. At the same time, it is causing challenges, and there's huge infrastructure investments needed to make it a reality.
The overall understanding of how this will benefit still to be seen, right? I mean, we talk about personal consumer usage, but when we start talking about things like healthcare and the medical fields, maybe 5G is going to advance their technologies outputs quite dramatically. You might have a doctor that's out in Russia performing operations to someone in Canada, right? And with 5G, the ability to handle that and speed and the non-buffering that they call it in terms of video quality is going to be there, right? And that's the expectation. That's what's exciting for me.
Today, there are chatbots with natural language programming that can take your dinner reservations. I'm sure some of you have, devices at home like Siri or Alexa that can serve up your favorite podcasts or answer the most difficult Trivia Pursuit question in an instant. Do you see a growing opportunity for voice in the workplace? Jason, I would appreciate if you would kick off the discussion by sharing your view on this.
Where it helps us a lot is, for example, in the collection of information, we have more phone calls now, we have more video generated, we have more calls like this over various platforms, and capturing that information is often extremely important. In fact, sometimes it's either life or death or a very big legal issue in order to make sure that we know what was communicated, what was agreed to during that conversation. And that's where I really like the proliferation of natural language right now, because it allows the speech to text in a context like this. It is contextual. So I'll know exactly what Robert said. I'll know exactly what Ted said. I know what Jason said at any particular time. And then we can go on and use information mining tools like Shiny Docs and others to go off and find that information, classify it, make it available to the right people at the right time, and then layer on things like PI, personal identifiable information capture, GDPR compliance, Digital Privacy Act, all that type of thing can now work on these multiple medias that would have been kind of unthinkable had we had this volume of media data 10 years ago, but we didn't have this same type of natural language technology. It would be unthinkable as to how we do that. So all that data would be lost. Now we're in a wonderful spot where it can be captured, well understood, and disposed of at the right time according to policy and legislation as well.
As natural language improves, I don't need somebody who knows, some kind of arcane query language and, some complicated analytical functions to do something that I know the stuff is sitting in a database and I can just ask, tell me, oh great machine, what I can do.
Yeah, it's a cool technology. It has its place. But if you look at the younger generation that's actually going to be moving into the communities, they all shut them off. A lot of people don't want to be listened to. So the privacy issue is still a really big one. It's just like facial recognition is cool, but so much controversy, we don't even bother trying to put it in a building. So yeah, a lot of capability, a lot of possibility, but in most cases, people don't want something listening to them. So I think even within the workplace, people aren't going to be comfortable with it. So I don't want to throw it out because obviously there's a lot of possibility and capability, but no one's mentioned the privacy issue, and the privacy issue is real. Like by default, we don't include it. By default, people always have a choice when it comes to our system.
I know it's come up a couple times here about remote work and so on, and the pandemic certainly at Ingram has shown that we can live and work anywhere. Now, is that really a true statement, or does it just apply to knowledge workers? Where do you believe there are opportunities? Perhaps, Ted, you can start us off by sharing your view on work from home and remote work technology.
I mean, again, I don't think there's one right answer. And I think the hybrid world, working completely remotely, it's not the answer. People are going nuts. It's not efficient in a lot of ways. It's efficient in some ways. If you have dedicated work you need to do, great to be at home for the day and get it done. But when collaborating with team members, it doesn't work. Overall, I think we're probably going to snap back pretty close to where we were before. We're social beings. We weren't meant to be isolated.
The part that I found very powerful is we used to live in a world where you could never really do $1 million plus deal with an enterprise organization without a flight and a handshake and in building that type of in-person relationship. It's not schmoozing, it's just building real human trust. And we have found ways of doing that over the last year, and we've conducted a few big deals that didn't require flying, and you supplement it with using different techniques and still trying to build human relationships. So I think some of the point that the people here are making is that not a lot of people want to either go back to work 100% or want to stay home 100%. So it is going to be a hybrid world going forward. But the fact that we've learned how to conduct ourselves, build trust over a distributed connection like this is pretty powerful. So I think that that's just something that would have never happened without the pandemic. And I'm thankful for it. And I hope that we can keep doing that in the future because it's just more effective and it allows you to build some real relationship without having to spend a lot of money on travel and take on personal risk that way.
Companies really need to invest in the infrastructure and the security practices because of this, right? The more investment that's there to allow users to work remote or do things remotely, needs to be in place. Accessing corporate networks, accessing corporate email. That infrastructure has to have some spend and some investment made to that. Security, even more so. I think all the security practices and the security tool sets to prevent cyber attacks that have been happening throughout this pandemic and throughout many years, that also needs to be factored in as well, right? And so they no longer have the protection while working remote of a corporate network. And so all those practices and tool sets that they need to invest in needs to be put into where they are at.
Well, I want to thank everyone on the panel. I think everyone heard it clearly. Rather than viewing digital disruption as worrisome and challenging, embrace the uncertainty and potential that advances in new technology, data analytics, and artificial intelligence will bring. The pressure to innovate amid technological progress poses an opportunity for us all to rethink the work that we do and the way that we do it. The question for you is, are you prepared? Back to you, Corinne.
Wow, that was an incredible panel. So much to think about. Don't you just love discussions about the future when you put a bunch of talented people together? Well, that's what I felt. So now let's hear from Peter Neer, VMware's National Director, serving up another of our sponsor messages.
Hi, everyone, and thanks for joining us. This has been a challenging year, but it's been a year where we as technologists have had an opportunity to really have an impact on Canada. Together, VMware and our partners have had an opportunity to keep Canada running. We helped the private sector completely transform overnight to 100% digital. We helped the public sector ensure that they didn't miss a beat in serving Canadians, whether that be healthcare or the many services that public sector delivers from coast to coast. And I see that partnership continuing going forward. As the next year unfolds, VMware and you, our partners, will continue to have opportunities to impact Canada. As Canadians return to the office, they need to have flexibility to understand, can I work from home? Can I work from the office? What's the best thing for me, for my family? And how am I going to make that work as a Canadian economy? And we're going to see industries that had to press pause over the last year roar back to life. And together, we'll be able to help them modernize their applications, move to the cloud, and take advantage of all those things that help them scale up incredibly quickly to take advantage of an economy that is on recovery. We together will continue to be there for Canada, and I thank all of you for being partners with VMware. Congratulations to all the award winners, and here's to a fantastic year ahead. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Peter. We now have an opportunity for some camera-to-camera conversation thanks to one of your colleagues, Peter. So look to the messenger tool on the platform for a link to join a remote work networking session with Mark Lewis, VMware's secure remote work specialist. With organizations rethinking the ways to remove friction between employees and technology, Mark is going to lead a discussion about how to become a leader in the new world of work. Just click the button and I'll see you inside. Now, if you're not joining, check out the snack bar sponsored by Samsung, or complete the ITWC skills survey and earn a $20 Amazon gift card. We'll see you back here in 20 minutes and we'll carry on with the rest of the show. I'm back, and so are you. I hope you enjoyed the break. Thanks very much, Mark from VMware. I know it's not quite like live, but it's still great to see people that we haven't seen in a while. Don't forget, even if we can't see you, and you can ask a question and comment using the CIA Awards hashtag. Now, we've heard a lot about the pandemic and how it has forced companies to transform. And there have been a lot of new partnerships created out of necessity. To show you we can pivot and change with the best of them, the new Normal Ninja category was introduced to recognize those companies that came up with innovative ways to help partners not only survive, but thrive. Here, back to present this new award, is April Marshall of HP.
Necessity is the mother of innovation. Never has the saying been more true than during the pandemic. While the impact of COVID-19 has been tragic in so many ways, it also unleashed a wave of creativity and innovation that allowed companies and organizations to change up their business models and find ways to survive the storm. Like a ninja warrior who thinks fast, responds instantly, and changes his fight plan to accommodate the circumstances of the battle, our many nominees for the title, New Normal Ninja, provided solutions that offered organizations the resilience to live and fight another day. The 2021 New Normal Ninja, as selected by our panel of esteemed judges, is a Calgary-based company that focused on the emotional toll the pandemic was taking on workers and set out to help. Working with the Calgary United Way, our winner, Headversity, developed and deployed an app that helped workers focus on 6 critical areas of resilience that empowered workers to get ahead of adversity and reduce stress in the workplace. Congratulations to Headversity. Let's see the video of this amazing innovation.
High productivity is masking exhausted workforces globally. Employees are having a hard time balancing productivity and behavioral health, opening the door for companies like Headversity to step in and address the issue with technology. And in case you were thinking the mental well-being of your employees wasn't a big deal, it's worth noting that in 2019, Forbes estimated that the annual cost of ignoring workplace mental health is 80 to 100 billion American dollars. Headversity CEO Dr. Ryan Todd knows all too well how long wait lists for the right resources can get. And as a psychiatrist himself, Todd says people are challenged to understand where they stand on their mental health and have no benchmark to keep them on track.
So that's where really the foundation of this came from, was a place of need. And the thing that I was seeing as a clinician was that we didn't have access to these skills. And it was either, you needed to pay $300 an hour to see a psychologist to help build these skills, or you needed to wait 6 months on a wait list and see somebody like me to build these skills. And we really felt that was unacceptable. So that brings me to what Headversity is and what resilience is. So resilience is your readiness, your preparedness to face adversity. And a misnomer that we should clear up right away is that only 1 in 5 people face adversity. That's the common marketing campaign around mental illness right now, where we know that everyone faces adversity. Mental health is a 5 in 5 issue.
Early in the pandemic, Headversity partnered with United Way Calgary to build the Adaptive YYC initiative. The purpose of this initiative was to support the employee well-being of small to medium-sized businesses, government-funded agencies, and nonprofits in Calgary and surrounding areas by building resilience to combat the stress of the pandemic. The unique initiative features 3 months of free use of Headversity's resilience training program.
United Way Calgary is an organization that thinks a lot about where organizations are being missed, where mental health needs to really exist in our city. They approached us and said, we think that throughout the pandemic that there is a group of companies, there's a group of nonprofits, a group of foundations that aren't being really addressed in terms of how the mental health of their employees is really addressed across the city.
Headversity's program focuses on improving 6 critical areas of resilience: mental health, mental fitness, self-expertise, hardiness, mindfulness, and energy management. Since Adaptive YYC is still in its early stages, Todd says it's too early to quantify the positive results of its implementation. However, in previous case studies of organizations who have completed the program, there have been dramatic improvements in each of the 6 areas. Todd says functioning nonprofits are crucial, especially during uncertain times. They also boast some of the best networks in local communities and can sometimes tap into talent who can bring technology to the forefront.
Well, I want to thank you, first of all, for this award at Headversity. We are all very honored to be a new normal ninja. What that means to us is that we are building a world where we are thriving in the new normal, not just accepting and surviving the new normal. And we feel that Headversity is a really important part of that and the technology that we deploy. And our partner in United Way has really exonerated that partnership around building community, building technology, and getting tools in individuals' hands. So on behalf of Headversity, on behalf of United Way, we're very excited to win this award and very honored.
Let's give one more virtual round of applause for Headversity for winning this year's New Normal Ninja Award.
Congratulations, Headversity. Here comes the confetti. Don't you just love this? It's going to make a mess in my office. Okay, let's push on and celebrate some of those top 10 solution providers of the year. Here's Dave Lacey, CEO of WattServe, with some thoughts on innovation and the reveal of the top 5 solution providers.
Hi, I'm Dave Lacey, CEO of WattServe. WattServe is an IT solution provider that helps clients digitally transform their businesses through cloud technology and managed services. Our mission is to deliver ingenious solutions that empower our clients to focus back on their core business. WattServe is proud to sponsor the conference and acknowledge the important innovation that is taking place within the channel. We are at a time when innovation is critical to success. But what is innovation? The idea has many different meanings. The economist Theodore Levitt said, "Creativity is thinking up new things. Innovation is doing new things." Steve Jobs once said, "Innovation comes from saying no to 1,000 things." For me, innovation means 3 things. First, it's about challenging oneself to stay ahead of the curve. That means keeping current with what's going on in your corner of the world. It means continually learning and exploring. It means taking steps to invest in your own expertise. To make changes or bring about new ideas, you need to understand how something's being done first. Second, innovation, in my opinion, is brought about when we get comfortable with the unknown. It happens through continual iteration and when we choose to be flexible and nimble rather than rigid and unchanging. The COVID-19 pandemic has underscored the fact that we never really truly know what's around the corner, making it even more important to be open to change. Third and last, innovation happens when we question prevailing attitudes. At WattServe, we speak a lot about empowering clever minds. Finding new and remarkable solutions to old problems requires building a safe and inclusive environment where all ideas are welcome and nobody's afraid to speak up. So we like to fail fast in the pursuit of growth. At WattServe, we're serious about seeking innovative solutions for our clients. We see ourselves as an extension of our customers' teams. We're a partner and an advisor. We look for opportunities that help our customers stay focused on their core business, and we provide a high level of expertise when it comes to cloud technology and managed services. Now it's my pleasure to begin the countdown of the top 10 providers from this year's ranking. As many of you know, the rankings are based on the 2020 Canadian revenue as submitted by the organization. To be in the top 10 this year, you had to record over $150 million in revenue. So let's begin. The number 10 solution provider holds that spot from last year's ranking. A technology solution provider that has 25 years of experience serving both business and government and clients across Canada. With offices in Ottawa and Toronto and staffed by 85 employees, it's the 6th largest supplier to the Canadian federal government. Please serve up a round of applause for the number 10 solution provider this year, it's the 6th largest supplier to the Canadian federal government. Please serve up a round of applause for the number 10 solution provider this year, TerraMac, a Pivot company. Number 9 in the rankings is one of those companies that continued to thrive during the epidemic, with its revenue increasing from $8 million just a decade ago to now in excess of $150 million in 2020. The organization is recognized as one of the province's fastest growing companies. That growth is reflected in the rankings. It's jumped from 17th position on the list last year to 9th. I'm sure its employees are celebrating in a socially distanced sort of way. So let's have a virtual round of applause for our number 9 winner, MicroLogic. Our number 8 solution provider has also crept up the list this year. Privately owned since 1985, it helps clients manage all aspects of their software portfolio with the objective of reducing complexity, costs, and risk. Based in Mississauga, it helped clients unlock the power of technology while increasing the flexibility of their IT landscape. Moving up from 9th place last year, this year's number 8 solution provider of the year is Software One Canada. Our Quebec-based number 7 solution provider is not new to this list, but the name might be unfamiliar. Known as ProContact for the past 30 years, the organization has recently changed its identity to ITI. These initials stand for IT Intelligence, which President Jonathan Legault says better reflects his 300-plus team and the effort that they are making. Congratulations to the number 7 winner, ITI. Established in 1990, our number 6 solution provider was acquired in 2017 by the publicly traded ODP Corporation, formerly known as Office Depot. It provides end-to-end technology and consulting and thrived during 2020 as it focused on helping many enterprise clients manage through a difficult pandemic and a transition to remote work postures. Congratulations to CompuCom, Grandin Toy. A warm congratulations to all the winners. That's it for me, but look for my colleague Randy Mazzoni, WatServe's head of sales and marketing, later in the show when he acknowledges the number 2 solution provider of the year.
Congratulations to all of the winners. That was close to $1.8 billion in economic activity he unleashed there. Now, speaking of unleashing, sorry for the pause in the video. Our technical team pretty much figures out that our digital confetti broke the internet, but we're back now. So the channel is a really, really important part of the Canadian tech ecosystem. And we're on a roll now, and here comes the number 5 solution provider of the year. Even though their year did not unfold as expected, it once again cracked the Big 5 after a 2-year absence. Heavily involved in both Microsoft and Cisco, our number 5 winner helps companies with their cloud migrations and then makes sure they're secure. Congratulations, Longview System. Let's roll their video.
There are some very familiar faces in our top 5 for this year's top 100 solution providers, but the climb back to the top in 2020 wasn't easy. Almost everyone we spoke to on this list cited having one plan heading into 2020, only to deviate from it around March due to unprecedented outside forces. Number 5 ranked Longview Systems story is no different. The MSP's Chief Executive Officer, Brett Allison, says Longview Systems had ambitious targets set for 2020, and while those targets remain intact for 2022, the immediate focus remains squarely on its staff and the customers that were relying on them to manage critical IT infrastructure.
We had some pretty lofty growth projections, both from revenue and profitability, so we were really excited. So the way I look at it is, there's 2 things that really changed, is how our clients had to react, and of course how our people had to react.
Airlines, casinos, and ski hills. These were just some of the hardest hit clients, according to Allison, and they likely won't bounce back until this fall. Heading into 2022, however, Allison expects a bit of a roaring 20s effect to permeate the channel market. But until then, the focus is on helping people get through the chaotic waters.
We're worried about a little bit of inflation related to that, but if you put that together, we have done everything we could to be super flexible and hyper flexible with those clients. helping them change the services they bought, moving things so they can function. When someone comes to you and tells you that their traffic's down 96%, what do you do with that, right? You have to partner with them to figure it out. We focused on what our clients needed and how they needed to pivot, and how our people needed to pivot and taking care of them. So the company sort of, as the leaders eat last thing, the company ate last. And I think that was okay for that next quarter, but it was a fairly dramatic change in terms of our plans and our perspective on what we were going to accomplish in 2020.
But it hasn't all been doom and gloom. Allison says certain verticals actually performed really well. Finance, utilities, and government, and certain healthcare services, especially in the U.S. close to Longview's offices in Houston and Denver. They were somewhat resilient to the economic downturn as they put greater bets on cloud infrastructure and security. The Toronto branch has also tapped into new opportunities that actually led to a bit of a boom in business. Allison says he's confident about what the future holds.
For us, it comes down to two simple things, though. We got to thank our clients for sticking with us, and certainly thank our people for everything that they've done to be super, super resilient during this time. We've really looked out for each other and helped each other through this time. That has in turn resulted in the great net promoter scores and our clients' feedback, which is, hey, you're working with us and you're working through it, you're being a true partner. So putting that all together, what that means for me, for our people and for our clients, is that we're in it for the long run.
Congratulations once again to our number 5 ranked top solution provider, Longview Systems.
Kudos, Longview Systems. Okay, we're going to try one more time with the confetti. We're going to press on to number 4, followed by a presentation by Jason Bremner of IDC. To get us there, I turn the virtual podium back to Romain Lemerlu. Romain?
I'm back. The number 4 solution provider of the year is a highly regarded company, having earned many Partner of the Year awards, as well as scoring CDN Channel Elite Awards and CDN Channel Innovation Awards. Founded in 1981, it works with customers in industries and professions ranging from healthcare and energy, utilities to non-profits. It has been able to boast a top 5 CDN solution provider ranking since 2013. Committed to helping unleash an organization in potential with IT innovation, it was a pioneer in the work from anywhere movement and has helped numerous organizations in the past year make remote work possible. Please join me in offering a virtual round of applause to Compugen. Let's hear from them now.
The Roaring '20s didn't swoop in at the turn of the century like many were expecting, but it didn't stop our number 4 ranked solution provider from once again cracking the top 5 and even earning recognition from tech partners like HPE and Microsoft along the way. Ehrlich says the focus on organizational health allowed them to sharpen their business strategy at the same time. The solution provider remains focused on migrating customers to an as-a-service business model while seeing huge demand for end-user devices, collaboration platforms, and security solutions in response to the growing remote workforce. Several of Compugen's customers are based in the education space, and their needs over the past year required some serious planning.
The education sector had to learn very quickly how to deliver remote online education, where in the past we might have configured and delivered devices to a school. The solution had to be innovated for us to be able to provide a remote deployment, to be able to ship directly to any home or apartment building, what have you, and provide some support to help a school board set up a student. We have a wonderful team with wonderful people, and that's what makes this possible. We banded together, we worked very hard to figure out how to adjust. In addition to that, we have terrific customers that we were able to serve through this very difficult period. And finally, we have wonderful partnerships with our vendors that are very strategic and important to our success. And so on behalf of Compugen, all of our staff and our executive team, thank you very much, and let's do it all again in 2021.
Congratulations once again to Compugen for achieving this year's number 4 spot on this year's CDN's Top 100 Solution Provider list.
In the past year, we have invested in our partners and our product. On the product side, we introduced a freemium software offering for companies and organizations who needed help to ensure the system were working, performing, and thriving. That investment has paid off, with more users of our technology worldwide than ever before. Also, Centurion launched its MSP offer last year. For years, MSP have been relying on Centurion to manage their client digital touchpoints. With the market expansion of digital business and the volatility in it, our MSP partners were looking for a more scalable way to support their customers. So we introduced a scalable distribution and pricing model where MSPs still benefit from the full suite, but can scale up or down based on usage. Centurion fits in the $50 billion IT operations market. If a new monitoring tool is a long-term investment, it is also an opportunity for service providers to enable CIOs to bridge the gap between IT operation and business performance. And the best part is, it's a simple and a replicable model. The future of IT is available with our IOPS connection, bringing so much capabilities to build innovative stack. Whatever the tool, we have the connector. It's that easy like this. Centurion is an exceptional product with services that support end-to-end IT and business, and adaptability to partner technology practices and service offerings. It's what partners are looking for and why they choose Centurion. That's why 2020, although a market downturn year, was good for Centurion and good for our partners. In 2020, our partners saw on average a 4 times channel multiplier. In an unprecedented time in the market, with more and more clients needing support in their adjusted business model, we are here and ready. If you're looking for a way to grow your business, partner with Centurion to keep the world running on IT. If 2020 demonstrated anything, it proved no one has a crystal ball. Business plans were upended, leaving both winners and those still struggling to pivot. All of us have been heads down, more focused than ever, working on the task at hand. That's why it's so great to have an opportunity like today. Not only it is a chance to come up for air and celebrate the community success stories, but it's also a chance to hear what experts are predicting for the road ahead. Here, to offer insights that should allow us to make the adjustment to thrive in a changeable future, is IDC's VP of Industry and Business Solutions, Jason Bremner. Jason is going to take a few minutes to share the 5 trends all channel partners will need to understand going forward. It has been a pleasure to spend the afternoon with you all. Take it away, Jason.
Congratulations to all the winners and nominees for the 2021 Canadian Channel Innovation Awards. The channel has seen tremendous change over the past few years. The shift from second platform era, when technologies like PCs, printers, and client server were dominant. Topics like software licensing and leasing were key business issues in technology purchases. The channel partner owned the relationship with the client. Today, cloud delivery and subscriptions are dominant topics and have altered the partner's relationship with the client. Then COVID hit, which has changed our society in many ways, some temporary, some permanent. IDC is seeing companies around the world alter their approach to using external services as they prepare for the post-pandemic economy. We are seeing companies accelerate their digital transformations as they want more resilient businesses and operating models like their digital leader peers. They are striving for innovation in their products and customer experiences. They are rethinking globalization due to delivery risks that were exposed by COVID. They are demanding more security and safety for customers and employees in workplaces as are transformed through remote working and digitally enhanced processes. The theme for the 2021 Canadian Channel Innovation Awards is adapting to the changing customer experience. Today, I want to share with you 5 trends in the services market that we predict have far-reaching implications for the Canadian channel community and their ability to meet changing customer experiences. Every organization has been impacted by COVID. IDC has asked companies about their current status and where do they expect to be in 3 months. As you can see here, 4 in 10 organizations say they are still in crisis mode, or what we call the business continuity state. 1/4 of organizations are in cost control mode as their revenue slows down, or as we call the economic slowdown state. 1 in 10 organizations believe their revenue is in long decline in a recessionary state. And unfortunately, only 1 in 10 organizations currently see their status as returning to growth and that they are aggressively investing in their businesses. The last 10% of organizations are in the next normal, as we call it, where they are operating as a digital enterprise. When you look at their 3-month outlook, almost 1 in 3 organizations expect to be in the next normal, operating as a digital enterprise. Another 1 in 3 organizations will be looking to return to growth by July 2021. 2 in 10 organizations expect to be in a cost control state as revenue slows or declines. And the last 2 in 10 organizations expect to be stuck in the business continuity or crisis mode. So what does this mean for the IT services market? IDC believes that Canadian organizations will be making targeted investments in technologies that speed their digital transformations, including customer and employee digital experiences and building an infrastructure environment that is more cloud-based to be more flexible and resilient than they had in the past. With that in mind, I want to share with you 5 predictions that IDC has for the services market over the next couple of years that we think all channel players should prepare for. Prediction number 1. By 2022, 50% of Canadian organizations with more than 1,000 employees will accelerate their digital transformation projects, making the other 50% of firms increasingly disadvantaged to compete in the post-pandemic economy. COVID-19 is the inflection point when all organizations understand the imperative to digitally transform or risk becoming irrelevant to your clients. Even so, there will be some firms that will be slower than others, and they will find it harder to catch up unless they make some big changes. So this is our guidance to the channel. We expect more firms will work with external firms like you to supply business and technology consulting to speed their digital journeys. Get ready by building your expertise in these areas. Prediction number 2, by the end of 2021, 75% of Canadian organizations with mature employee experience programs will have returned to pre-2020 growth, compared to only 25% of organizations with immature programs. All organizations say that employees are the heart of their businesses. However, sometimes those words are hollow. The pandemic disrupted all workforces, and employees did their best to cope to new demands. Coming out of the pandemic, employees will remember how they were treated. Organizations that have committed to employee experience and have established programs that foster worker engagement, well-being, recognition, and inclusion will be rewarded with greater employee commitment and productivity. Our guidance to the channel community is to build an employee experience program that addresses the needs of your employees and specifically their hierarchy of needs, from well-being, engagement, recognition, training, and career development. This will reinforce the belief that employees are the heart of your business. Prediction number 3. By 2023, more than 60% of Canadian firms will use multi-cloud management platforms as part of managed cloud service engagements to standardize tool sets, ensure quality of service, and enable demand management. We have seen greater uptake of cloud services in the pandemic, and many companies are using managed cloud services to augment their internal capabilities and to speed their cloud journeys. Most companies will use multiple clouds because no one cloud delivers everything. Our guidance to you is to support multiple clouds by joining partner programs of several leading cloud providers and invest in a management platform that enables you to manage multiple clouds on behalf of your clients. Prediction number 4. By 2023, more than 50% of organizations will have faster turnaround and speed to value as one of their top 3 selection criteria for selecting a services vendor. As mentioned earlier, we expect more firms will accelerate their digital transformations because of COVID. Now, more than ever, they want their technology partners to enable them to move faster rather than being an anchor on their progress. Our advice for the channel is to educate clients that quality takes time and that good project governance and service delivery is needed to deliver high quality services. Prediction number 5. By 2024, 80% of Canadian organizations looking to drive revenue growth will only select vendors that can offer a portfolio of strategy design and technology services. Digital transformation is a long process and requires continuous improvements across the enterprise to keep pace with digital native companies. As a result, many organizations will use external consultants to help develop and execute strategies. However, companies that prioritize the revenue generating aspects of digital transformation will look to external consultants that can help them in a holistic manner, from strategy design to business model and application development to technology implementation and support services. We believe that services vendors will need to have a combination of these capabilities to appeal to revenue growth focused companies in a few short years. The channel will continue to see big changes in the next few years. I hope the 5 trends we shared will help you adapt to the changing customer experience in a post-COVID economy. Thank you, and best wishes to the winners and nominees of the 2021 Canadian Channel Innovation Awards.
I'm back, and apparently we're going to try and get Luke on the line again. Okay, here he is. Hey, Luke.
Hey, Corinne, finally, this is a technology for you, right?
As one of the CIA judges, what impressed you most about the nominations you and the other judges reviewed?
What I found was incredible about...
Luke, you're frozen. And that's not really a flattering look, I have to say. Luke, can you hear us? Okay, well, we'll see if my friend unfreezes. Let me offer a special thanks to the judges who took the time to look at the nominations this year. Thank you to Luke, Phil Soper, Karen Pugliese, Braden Root McCaig, and Brendan Schmidt. Thank you so much to all of you. Now, while the technical team thaws Luke out and the benchmark staff takes screenshots for their next party or meeting, let's hear from Kurash Kashiyar, Island's VP of Global Channel, with a sponsor message.
Thank you, Corinne. Island is a VMware-based global service provider. We have 11 data centers, the latest and greatest being out of Toronto, Canada. We have been around for 25 years. The last 12 years, we have had laser focus on 3 offerings. We offer backup as a service, disaster recovery as a service, and infrastructure as a service. We are well known for our disaster recovery as a service, being the winner of Gartner's Magic Quadrant 4 years in a row. Essentially, when you look at our offerings and everything that we go to market with, our main focus is really around compliance, visibility, the management tools that we provide you in our award-winning console that we have. And our partner program is a CRN 5-star program. Great to have that distinction and that award. We have thousands of partners, and the partners that we have essentially fall into the 3 different categories. If you want to abide by the 3 R's of the different programs, we have our referral program that will be our agent model, where we work with a lot of our partners where they make a referral and recognize a commission based on the referral that they had made. We partner with sub-agents who work with master agents, and that would be another way to get commissioned on the referrals that you make. The resellers that we work with are the ones who want to take on the billing and maintain that type of a relationship with our customers. So we definitely work with resellers and value-added resellers. And then we have the managed service providers who really want to take on the whole gamut and the offering and really go to market with everything that they offer and have our offering be a part of that. Thank you very much. And thank you, Corinne. Back to you.
Thanks so much, Kurash. Innovation is really key. And also, I have to say, that is quite the vinyl collection you have. I'm really impressed. Okay, here to present the Emerging Technologies Guru Award is another member of the C4 family, VMware Channel Chief Tara Fine. Take it away, Tara.
Thank you, Corinne.
We all know the COVID-19 pandemic made the need for digital transformation in pharmacare abundantly clear. Enter CDN's emerging technology guru and Maptual, an AI-powered customer data platform for pharma that uses real-time data to identify the value of each tactic and channel at the individual level. It generates personalized actions to drive peak engagement from physicians. Our judges found Odea should be named CDN's inaugural Emerging Technologies Guru. Let's roll the video and hear details of their innovation.
Anyone working in sales can attest to the challenges that come with maintaining contact with their customer base during a pandemic. In the case of pharmaceutical representatives, the situation became pretty dire. While tools like Zoom and Excel helped organize physician outreach, reps were still making decisions based on annual or semi-annual data analysis. The leadership team at Toronto startup Odea estimates that pharma sales reps lost 80% of their customer base over the past year. Odea VP of Commercial Life Sciences, Orka Jahanshahi, says sales reps in this field have been resistant to change in how they pitch physicians. That is, until now. The company piloted its product with one client in 2019, but it wasn't until the pandemic's lasting impacts on sales became clear in mid-2020 that Odea started to get traction.
It's kind of like a B2B because they're trying to convince physicians to convince patients. And because they're not buying the drugs, they're prescribing the drugs. A representative would literally go door to door, clinic to clinic, or hospital to hospital in person to have these discussions, show material on the product, and in some cases, less so now, give samples. And if they're calling on family physicians, usually they could be seeing upwards of 7-8 physicians a day. I would say in the specialty area, for instance, an oncologist or a neurologist, they would probably see 4, 5, 6 a day.
It's unlikely that sales reps in pharma will continue to make those daily visits even with a vaccine rollout imminent. A shift has occurred, prompting tech companies like Odea to pitch platforms like Maptual. And what's Maptual's pitch? Save time and oceans of data to make pharma marketing less of a headache. According to the startup CEO, Philip Politis, Odea is already generating revenue and rapidly growing as a company.
Yeah, absolutely. So with Maptual, our AI SaaS product for the pharmaceutical industry, we apply our specific domain knowledge, and we know how to work with and interpret data sets within the pharmaceutical industry. And these data sets include, everything from prescription transactions to patient support programs, could be lab results as well, CRM data from within the pharmaceutical companies on their commercial activities and omni-channel activities, perhaps coming from their marketing automation platforms. We also take in data sets from third parties and data that we also collect ourselves on regional and population demographic trends. So all of these data sets today reside in individual silos. And what our platform does is bring all of these together. Of course, we strip away any PII information so that we're not violating any local or federal rules and regulations around protecting the privacy of patients if we do have access to patient-level activity.
Politis says Odea is engaged with 10 large global pharmaceutical companies, as well as a handful of Canadian customers. Odea's cutting-edge data mining platform is turning heads in other industries as well, which is why the startup has a separate platform targeting Shopify merchants.
We are deeply honored. We'd like to thank Channel Daily News and all the judges for recognizing Odea with this award. I'd also like to thank all of our employees whose hard work and dedication really makes what we do possible. And of course, our customers who put their faith in us and in our technology. So thank you.
Congratulations once again to Odea for winning this year's Emerging Tech Guru Award.
Congratulations, Odea. If you want more information on any of our winners and awards, there'll be a full coverage in Channel Daily News, and all the video and editorial stories will be back on this very site tomorrow. Like the New Normal Ninja Award presented a few minutes ago, our next award is especially timely. After years of simmering beneath the surface, the issue of diversity and inclusion became a true headline issue in 2020, forcing many organizations to have frank discussions about whether their operations were truly reflective of the communities and the customers they serve. The C4 Award for Diversity and Inclusion was created to recognize organizations that have had those conversations and were actively doing something about it. Here to present the award is Lori Scarlett, Director of Human Resources for Ingram Micro.
Thanks, Corinne. As discussions around Black Lives Matter continue to punctuate both our public and private discussions, it is more important than ever organizations commit to initiatives that promote diversity, inclusion, social justice, and corporate responsibility. Ingram Micro prides itself on diversity, equity, and inclusion. We've implemented a variety of initiatives, including listening sessions, focus groups, communicating and educating our associates about diverse holidays, celebrations, and traditions, and also ensuring our talent acquisition continues to embrace diversity. With that, we are so very pleased to be able to recognize the winner of the 2021 C4 Award of Diversity and Inclusion. The judges found several nominations compelling, but the winning organization showcased 8 different initiatives that demonstrated to the judges its commitment to diversity and inclusion is really built in the organization's DNA. Recognized by Forbes magazine as one of top 100 best workplaces for diversity, Insight Canada can now add the C4 Award of Diversity and Inclusion to their honors. Please roll the video and we'll see some of their amazing workplace initiatives they offer.
Mergers and acquisitions are a risky proposition for several reasons, but perhaps one of the biggest risks is their potential impact on a company's culture and identity. Insight Canada has had to deal with a number of changes over the past several years as the international business went on a shopping spree. But thanks to strong leadership, company morale remains high. Company reviews on Glassdoor for the Canadian business are overwhelmingly positive, and its Senior VP and GM, John Dathan, is optimistic about the future. Dathan says the emphasis on diversity and inclusion comes from the very top of the corporate ladder, with Ken Lamnick, Insight's president and CEO, who has made it clear that it's not just a marketing gimmick, but simply the right way to do business.
The studies that have shown us that the more diverse the team is, the more creative, the more different ideas are going to come out. If all we do is same old, you're going to get same old. So we actually very proactively seek diversity and inclusion. We actually had our first Diversity and Inclusion Day on a global basis. We brought in outside speakers to talk about various experiences that people have had. We've created forums for different groups to be able to participate. We truly want to make sure that this is really embraced. It's not just the right thing to do, it's right for the business.
Congratulations once again to Insight Canada for earning this year's C4 Award for Diversity and Inclusion.
I'm absolutely thrilled that we've been selected for the C4 Diversity and Inclusion Award. It's very, very special to us. And I would say in some ways, even more so, because of what it represents is the 500 plus teammates that make up Insight Canada. We've gotten to a certain size, which we're proud of, but I'm even more proud of the fact that our team is being recognized for proactively doing the right thing for our teammates and for the business. So thank you very much for this award.
Well done, Insight Canada. And John, it wouldn't happen without that fabulous pink suit that you wear in your videos. Well, time is flying by, and we're at the number 3 solution provider of the year. Here with that, and the introduction to a short fireside chat about the future of cloud, is ILAN's VP of Global Channels, Kourosh Kashiyar.
Thanks, Corinne. Our number 3 solution provider of the year provides multi-vendor technology solutions for small, mid-sized, corporate, and enterprise commercial clients. as well as governments across the country. The Canadian arm of a globally publicly traded organization, it has a national presence, and through 2020 helped clients transform tough IT modernization, the introduction of cloud solutions, and by offering the best practices for organizational change management. Even in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, it integrated 600 new teammates nationwide, significantly growing to 900 total full-time employees as a result of Insight's acquisition of PCM Inc. in August of 2019. The company prides itself as an exceptional place to work, a claim supported by its recent recognition as one of the top employers in Montreal, and its win earlier this afternoon of the C4 Award for Diversity and Inclusion. The number 3 CDN top solution provider of the year is Insight Canada. And here's a video with their team.
When John Dathan became Insight Canada's Senior Vice President and General Manager more than a year ago, he was eager to bring some of the company's more advanced capabilities from the US into Canada. He says the $581 million acquisition of PCM late in 2019 was the key to getting that process started. Insight Canada has gone from a value-added reseller to a well-rounded global solutions provider. But according to John Dathan, it took most of 2020 for that transformation to really take shape.
2020, easily the most interesting year of my career, and not just because of the pandemic. I mean, we've all dealt with that, and I think we could all compare stories on that. But in late 2019, what brought us to being the third largest solution integrator in Canada was the acquisition of PCM Canada. And so we did that at the very end of 2019. So we had to do a lot of things in 2020 to really integrate that into a single company. What was underneath that was that PCM Canada was created by 3 companies that were acquired, that there wasn't a lot of integration that had been done. So we had a tremendous amount of work. And if you think about it from an IT perspective, onboarding, more than 300 new teammates was one thing, but going from 6 ERP systems down to 1, going from 5 cell phone plans, 5 benefits plans, 5 vacation plans, all of these things, there was a tremendous amount of work that had to be done so that we could be the single entity that we are today.
Dathan says the acquisition ultimately helps Insight Canada move in the same direction as its US counterpart. The Canadian business experienced significant momentum in its server and storage business, as well as anything to do with the Microsoft portfolio. But Dathan says Insight Canada can now build out stronger solution sets, as well as brand new advisory and consulting services. The 3 main services-led areas it's pursuing are the connected workforce, which is anything to do with a device, cloud and data center transformation, and digital innovation.
So the beauty of this year, quite frankly, is all of the things I talked about in terms of that integration, that is now 100% complete. And so now we've got all of those folks that have got a year under their belt, they're with us, so we're really, it's doing things at scale. We're certainly investing heavily into that advisory motion that I talked about before. So, onboarding people, and I think we've onboarded somewhere between 40 and 50 people this year with the skills that can really help us in the cloud, with the skills that can help us in hybrid IT and some of the more complex solution areas.
Congratulations once again to our number 3 solution provider of the year, Insight Canada.
I'm absolutely thrilled to accept this on behalf of Insight Canada. Our second year in a row to be in the number 3 position of the top 5 in the top 100 awards. It's very, very special to us. As a large organization across the country, all of our team looks for this kind of recognition because it really does show us that we're doing the right things in the marketplace. So thank you to Channel Daily News and all the folks behind the scene. I know how much work it is to pull all this together, and Insight Canada is absolutely thrilled to be number 3.
Congratulations to John Dathan and team. As COVID has jump-started digital transformation, it has similarly pushed the conversation around the cloud from something of a casual discussion to an earnest undertaking. Those who were dipping their toes in just a year ago are now swimming laps. Hybrid and multi-cloud environments are becoming the norm, with the channel companies wondering whether to resell cloud or build their own. To help provide some guidance for companies looking to understand what is next in the cloud, ITWC's VP of Marketing and Communications, Steve Proctor, sat down with Island's very own SVP of Business Development, Dante Orsini, and Jeff Thompson, VP of Cloud Provider Sales in VMware. Here are the highlights of that conversation.
With the switch to consumption models driving a new sort of everything as a service model, what are the first thing channel organizations really need to understand as they contemplate the future of the cloud in their organizations? And Dante, let's just start with you.
As a cloud provider, we see people are dipping their toe in the water, or they may have a very mature strategy on how to adopt cloud. And I think the key is for all the solution providers out there, the game hasn't changed, right? They are looking for ways that they can add value, whether somebody is storing data in the cloud, they're backing up to the cloud, they're starting to run development and testing in the cloud, they're running production applications in the cloud, they're actually developing next generation applications in the cloud. So being able to find out, where your customer is in that journey and knowing where you can add value, I think is the key.
I think a lot of our channel partners are trying to figure out, what's the next step in this everything as a service model. So if they've been in a traditional reseller perpetual license world and they move into cloud, how are they going to differentiate? What's going to be their focus area? And then probably the most important is how deep are they going to go on services? Do they want to resell and do consulting? Or do they want to go into being more of a managed service provider? And then if they want to go into being a managed service provider, do they want to go and leverage other people's clouds? Or are they even going to go as far as even building their own cloud?
You've both seen channel companies that have experimented with cloud, and some fail miserably, others do better. What are some of the mistakes you've seen that others can learn for, that people in the audience can take away and say, oh God, I was thinking about that, but now I'm not going to do that?
The thing I've seen most commonly as a failing point is just underestimating the effort in shifting the business across to that. So the guidance really is, have a monetization strategy. What is it going to take to get there, and what's your portfolio going to look like when you get there? And then build out that investment plan and get internal funding so you can focus on building this new business and making it execution ready while you have the existing business continue to do what it needs to do. And then the other really important element is, as you get that sales team ready to go and start selling a managed services type portfolio, you're going to have to shift your compensation strategy to match that as well. And that's a critical component. If you get that wrong, then no matter how great your portfolio is, no one's going to sell it.
And another classic challenge we see is that we'll talk to someone and they'll ask, Island, where do you begin and end as it relates to delivering infrastructure as a service, DR as a service, backup as a service? It doesn't matter what the service is, but they're trying to analyze where we begin and end, to deliver the service. And when they realize that it's all encompassing, it does create opportunities for them to add value. But a classic challenge is somebody that's really been focused on professional services starts to look at how people consume these services, and they try to find ways that they can add professional services revenue on top, right, of an already price-sensitive centric service, and they can quickly price themselves out of the market. So we always encourage people to take a look at, what the customer demand is, what swim lanes they're looking to attack from a cloud perspective, and understand the maturity of the pricing models in some of these regions.
Can you walk us through a pragmatic process for a company that's interested in digital transformation? What can they take to figure out their options of what they should be doing?
And there's nothing worse than not being included as that trusted advisor where you once were, because you haven't really looked at the breadth of services that are ancillary to what you've been delivering your whole career. So again, I think starting with understanding what you deliver to the market, what those swim lanes are, and where there's ancillary services that can possibly attach to that is a quick route to understanding where those opportunities might be. VMware does a fantastic job of working with folks like us and making sure that all of us in the community have got a way to actually help partners understand what we deliver to the market.
The first step is just making sure you've modernized the data center, both on-prem, which I'm sure a lot of our solution providers and channel partners are doing today, but then as they move towards more of leveraging the cloud, so now we're talking hybridity, we're talking multi-cloud, how do we make sure that what they've got on-prem is modernized enough so that it can become hybrid and you can transfer workloads into other clouds and take advantage of the awesome cloud providers such as Dante and Island. So all the work from home that we've got going on right now, lots of companies going down that path. That takes us down also considering security. So really beefing up on the knowledge base that you have around security as these apps move off-prem and into the cloud, making sure customers are comfortable with the security that's in place to support those workloads. And then probably finally is as customers start to think about their applications and maybe they're refactoring applications, rewriting applications, what's the approach around modern apps?
It's great to move from CapEx to OpEx, but you don't really have to go very far to find somebody who say the cloud isn't necessarily saving them money, isn't necessarily cheaper in the long run. What would you give in terms of advice to people when they're trying to determine what the costs of cloud are going to be?
With Island, we developed a cloud assessment app that allows people to, really model different use cases. When I say people, I mean both the customer and the partner working together to sit down and have a conversation around what they're trying to accomplish and be able to quickly get a handle on one, feasibility, two, cost, and be able to do that with real data. I think one of the biggest challenges we see is that with a lot of hyperscale public clouds, there's significant opportunity working with those platforms. However, cost is like this big mythical challenge, right? That a lot of people may be fearful of because you need a PhD to understand cost. Because now it's about speed to market. It's about innovation, right? We see people that are trying to get out of the data center business, right? The same people that for the last couple decades built data centers, right? So it's no longer strategic to own multiple locations. And if you think about the talent challenge, it is really an arms race to try to find the right talent and the right platforms to gain that speed to market.
Do you need to walk before you run in the cloud, or do you need to go all in to get the financial and efficiency benefits?
When I think crawl, walk, run, I think about the engagement model, both with the customer and for the partner to get involved and take some of these services to market. Some of these things are literally super easy to do. Like, are you using the cloud for storage? That's something very easy to do. What about backup? What about disaster recovery? This is the thoughts of the client typically, right? And some of those services are very transactional. So to be able to get engaged with a cloud provider and simply have a referral-based agreement where every time that client pays the cloud provider, you're getting paid every single month. It allows you to quickly build monthly recurring revenue, get your teams trained, get your teams certified. Then as you start to see more value and the projects get larger and larger, they're much more strategic, much stickier with your end client, right? You can start to get a little bit deeper. But I think that there's some real low-hanging fruit opportunities to be able to quickly get in, build the monthly recurring revenue model, work out the compensation challenges, and then explore what your next step may be.
To make sure your cloud-o-meter climbs as fast as it possibly can. And you may not want to, focus on cloud. You want to keep your head down on the business that you're actually driving. So choosing a partner is going to be key. Give me a quick list of the qualities an organization should use when choosing a partner.
The partner needs to have the right vision for the customer. So know the customer really well, set out a vision and strategy for the customer to do this digital transformation, and make sure that you've laid out the steps so that they understand how they're going to get there and the benefits of the journey, the ultimate end state of the journey. The workloads are moving out to the cloud, they're resident in the cloud. Now the support is not all about what's in your data center, you're relying on other support vehicles. So be absolutely, have peace of mind that you know that the partners that you've chosen have a fantastic support model that are going to give you the SLAs that you need to make sure that the workloads are protected. And if there's ever an issue, they are addressed and fixed in a timely manner.
If I'm going to add to that, I would say also consider, what those routes to market look like with that partner. Do they have a model that allows you to quickly start to refer business, to start? potentially resell business, or to even, white label or deliver these services as a managed service provider. I would really look into what types of tooling, training, certification they have, and what kind of commitment they'll make to that type of onboarding, to your success. What's their success been with other partners to be able to deliver, joint go-to-market opportunities, things of that nature. And we see some folks that are maybe large and they're trying to be everything to everybody. But I think that there's also some really unique providers that are just laser focused on providing value in one swim lane, right? So we see the most successful partners have multiple partnerships. They work with multiple islands in the world to accomplish different things.
Great advice. We could chat all day long about this, but we only have a limited amount of time. Thank you, Dante. Thank you, Jeff. Great conversation. I'm going to turn it back to Corinne, and we'll carry on with the conference.
Wow, that was a lot of information. Well, it's time to present the coveted Innovation of the Year Award. Back with a bit of a surprise is Aylan's Courage Kashiyar.
All right, we have heard a lot about innovation this afternoon. It requires risk-taking and courage and a special vision to be able to look into the future and bring to life things that others can only imagine. Many of the organizations that submitted nominations are demonstrating that courage is the exciting and meaningful projects that they're undertaking. The nominations were so compelling that the judges opted not to give a single prize, but rather to recognize 3 co-winners. With the available time, our video can only provide a thumbnail of each of these projects. However, you'll be able to find more details about each initiative and stories that will appear over the next few days in ITWC's network of publications. Proceeding alphabetically, the first winner is Clear Concepts of Winnipeg. It developed a modern workplace program that goes beyond the traditional software training to get employees to embrace change management and support digital transformation. Our second winner is Compugen. Working with McKinsey Health and construction giant PCL, Compugen has planned and built a flexible technology infrastructure that is foundational to the automation, devices, and processes in an emerging smart hospital in Richmond Hill, Ontario. And last but not least is Redbit Development of Burlington. It helped Canada's second largest food rescue group to expand its recovery of food distribution program to accommodate the rapidly expanding demand for food during the early months of the pandemic. Congratulations to all of our winners. Here are their stories in video.
Our judges this year had an extremely difficult time selecting a winner for this year's Innovator of the Year award. MSPs throughout 2020 helped lift customers across multiple industries out of uncertainty and turn them into future-ready organizations. Nowhere was this more evident than in these 3 examples from our co-innovators of the year. We begin with Redbit Development, which worked with Second Harvest, Canada's largest food rescue organization. When COVID-19 hit, demand for food increased exponentially. The nonprofit was faced with a challenge of expanding their food recovery and redistribution program nationwide. Its food rescue app was not built to scale. The app worked well when launched in Ontario and BC a couple of years ago, but the platform was not robust enough to expand nationally. Nonprofits generally have a hard time acquiring new technology, and this type of rapid capacity upgrade is rare, says Redbit president and founder Mark Arteaga.
What we did with the system is we decoupled it from one large kind of monolithic server and decoupled it to various components of the system. So we leverage more cloud native technologies, more of an event-driven architecture to allow us to scale.
Redbit has played a huge role in helping restaurants reduce food waste and reallocate resources to organizations like Second Harvest.
Putting all of those pieces of the puzzle together to turn it around into, what was a 3-year plan into something that happened to, had to happen basically overnight. And trying to get the software into the hands of donors who were struggling at that point to kind of get rid of food. Restaurants that were closed had all this food that, was going to waste that is good food. Using technology to make that possible.
I would like to say thank you very much for awarding this award to us and being co-winners. It is a great honor to have that, but the award to me is like icing on the cake because we've been able to help so many people across Canada in a time that nobody has ever been through, during this pandemic.
It's always fantastic for everyone that's involved in our team and who has been involved in the Second Harvest project and who continues to be involved to see the work that they do recognized. Using technology to get food into the hands of those that need it it really is remarkable, and it's helped us as a team.
Our second Innovator of the Year worked wonders in the commercial space. Low End Windows partnered with Clear Concepts to keep over 500 manufacturing employees safe through digital transformation. The creation of visitor checkpoints accessed through smartphones allows Low End's workers to receive warnings and prevent others from entering a facility after identifying a possible COVID-19 symptom. Most recent engagements have evolved into other examples of automation. Concord Projects, one of Manitoba's foremost commercial builders, relied on Clear Concepts to create a serviceable check-in solution for tradespeople spanning multiple active construction sites.
The tagline of this year's event was adapting to the changing customer experience. Who could have imagined the change brought on by COVID-19? As others have observed, we have witnessed years of digital transformation compressed into a very short period of time. But as the saying goes, with change comes opportunity, not only for us, but for our clients as well. Very early in the pandemic, we recognized this opportunity to help our clients through very difficult times, enabling workflows, introducing automated processes, training and aiding the adoption of new cloud services to add to the cohesiveness of organizations with staff predominantly working from home. We quickly realized that clients with modern workplace services were better prepared to face the challenges brought on by the pandemic. The results in improved outcomes reinforced our belief that transformation as a service was the future of our business. Thank you to IT World Canada and the sponsors of the event. It's a huge honor. We really appreciate the opportunity.
And lastly, a smart hospital in Vaughan, Ontario is the centerpiece project for our third Co-Innovator of the Year award winner. Over the last 4 years, Compugen worked together with Mackenzie Health and PCL Construction to plan and build a flexible technology infrastructure that would lead to the eventual creation of Canada's first smart hospital. The Cordellucci Vaughan Hospital has more than 6,500 sensors to securely track patient movement, 700 securely connected iPhones, which allow real-time patient notifications, and thousands of edge devices capturing patient data.
The hospital has opened. It opened in February. A little different than originally planned. It's actually because of the pandemic, the hospital has opened as a COVID relief overflow hospital as opposed to a fully operational hospital. The emergency, for example, is still closed. They're not admitting patients that way. So they're supporting all the pressure on the healthcare system in Ontario right now. And the hospital is open. Compugen's role has changed from our original role of building and designing and implementing all the technology in the hospital to we now operate and manage the environment inside the hospital. Well, thank you very much. And yeah, on behalf of everyone at Compugen, we're thrilled, we're honored to receive this award for this very important project we're involved in. Delivering Canada's first smart hospital, and now seeing the results of our work, seeing the patient care that we're seeing delivered by this hospital, just such a great sense of pride, and we're very appreciative of the award.
Congratulations once again to Redbit Development, Clear Concept, and Compugen for being this year's co-winners of the Innovator of the Year award.
Congratulations to all three of our recipients. So we're down to the final 2 awards. Thank you, everyone, for being here with us today, and also for your interest and the many great questions you've been asking. Now I'm pleased to introduce Randy Mazzoni, Watser's Senior Vice President of Sales and Marketing, to do the honors.
Hello, everyone. My name is Randy Mazzoni, and I'm Senior Vice President of Sales and Marketing here at Watser. As we get to the end of the conference and awards this afternoon, I'm very pleased to recognize the number 2 Solution Provider of the Year. This organization has held the number 1 spot 7 times and remains the anchor for our industry. As a leader in delivering innovative solutions and services that accelerate their customers' digital journey, this company cracked the $1 billion mark in 2020, and during a pandemic nonetheless. If you haven't figured out who they are, this company was Microsoft Canada's 2020 Partner of the Year and can now add Canadian number 2 Solution Partner of the Year to its list of accomplishments. Congratulations to Softchoice. Let's roll the video and learn more about their success and story in 2020.
It's a good thing this year's number 2 solution provider already had its flag planted firmly in Microsoft's ecosystem with a focus on remote work, thanks to a wide variety of solutions and services available countrywide. Backed by a more recent brand refresh, the company's VP for Canada, John Husband, says last year's momentum, especially when it comes to software consolidation, is not going to stop.
Well, I looked at some data the other day, and I looked at the year-over-year compare to first quarter this year to first quarter last year, just in terms of overall Azure consumption volume, and we're well over 50% growth year on year, and that would be from first quarter last year to first quarter this year. Probably in the 60 to 70% growth range in Canada in my business, just in Azure consumption. If that gives you some perspective on how fast that's accelerating. I would also say what we also did is we helped customers with some consolidation of software assets. So we had a nice assessment tool which helped us go into customers, get a full inventory of what they have in terms of software. They're looking to save money.
Behind the scenes, Softchoice has been laser focused on an internal implementation of SAP software and growing its capabilities organically. While healthy balance sheets often signal an opportunity to acquire a company, Husband says they opted for a different route to develop new skills and services.
The biggest one for us internally was we had a SAP implementation last year, and we were under the belief that let's get our systems modernized internally first before we'd even look at acquisitions. So we haven't really been looking at acquisitions over the last few years, and the biggest driver of that is getting SAP rolled out, implemented, getting our systems modernized and perfected. And we're still going through that journey now. We're 8 months into it, and every month gets better. But I think once we get that through that journey, then we could consider something else. First of all, thanks so much for the award on behalf of Softchoice. I'm very excited to be accepting it. It's been a very difficult year, but our employees have really pulled together. We had a very, very strong year considering the pandemic. We went through a lot of different motions. We really prided ourselves on helping our customers get remote, getting activated on a lot of the technologies that help them work remote and help them with business continuity. And at the same time, we rebranded the organization, which we're really proud of. And our employees, the way they pulled together during the pandemic and continue to be productive has really been incredible. So I'd like to thank, first of all, IT World for the award, but secondly, all the employees, because this award is about all the employees driving the results to help our customers. And during a pandemic, the resilience they showed is absolutely incredible. So thanks so much for the award, and look forward to being back next year.
Congratulations once again to Softchoice for earning this year's number 2 spot on CDN's Top 100 Solution Providers list.
Congratulations, Softchoice. Here comes your confetti. I must say it's been quite an afternoon with all this digital confetti. My digital Roomba is going to be sweeping up for weeks. Okay, folks, time to wrap up the awards. We end where we began with Bill Brandel of Ingram Micro. Bill?
And I am happy to be able to introduce the top solution provider of the year. So thank you, Corinne. You know, if I ask you to think of a number between 1 and 10, research suggests that a significant number of you will think of the number 7. In many cultures around the world, 7 is considered a lucky number. There are 7 days in a week, 7 continents, and 7 colors in a rainbow. The number seems to appear everywhere. But tonight, there's a new reason to focus on the number 7. It's the number of times our top solution provider of the year has captured the top spot on the CDN rankings. It's a historic achievement, and for this multi-brand tech solution provider, but one that is not based on luck. They have worked hard solving complex customer problems since they debuted on the CDN Top Solution Provider rankings 15 years ago. And with more than $1 billion in Canadian revenues, it's a name that everyone in the channel knows and respects. Let's have a round of virtual applause for CDW, this year's CDN Top Solution Provider of the Year. Congratulations, and let's roll their video.
The acquisition of Scalar Decisions in 2019 gave this year's top solution provider a huge boost across its managed services, cloud, and security portfolio. The company's vice president and general manager, Jeanette Adragna, says those added capabilities were crucial to their 2020 strategy.
Almost overnight, organizations' networks were extended beyond the physical walls to be wherever coworkers are. This made both cloud solutions and security key concerns among organizations not only in Canada, but across the world.
Ensuring its own staff were safe and able to work remotely were some of the early concerns last year. The company's customers were the other.
We looked for ways to foster collaboration and engagement with each other so that we could stay connected and productive. Our marketing activities and customer strategies went digital as investments shifted online and every interaction with every single stakeholder became virtual. We continued to persevere through the pandemic by remaining focused at the channel level and ensuring our coworkers and customers remain the center of everything we do.
Adragna says the company is doubling down on helping customers with resource and cloud optimization, cost reduction, and larger digital transformation projects. She describes 2020 as a case study for what's likely to be a continued push into software.
So areas of focus for our customers' recovery efforts has varied over the last year. But some of the key themes that we've seen are the acceleration of digital transformation and customer experience projects, increased adoption of cloud technologies and cyber security solutions. To support business continuity, we've also seen a rapid adoption of tools like laptops, phones, headsets, and monitors, as well as solutions like collaboration and video conferencing capabilities. We're very excited to be recognized for the 7th time on the top 100 solutions providers list. First and foremost, I'd like to thank all CDW Canada coworkers. Thank you for your resiliency and steadfast dedication to CDW and our customers. I would also like to recognize our partners who provide exemplary support. To our valued customers, thank you for trusting us to help you realize your digital transformation ambitions and future-proof your assets during a year unlike any other. We look forward to continuing to be a part of your IT journey for many more years to come. Thank you for your unwavering support.
Congratulations once again to CDW Canada for earning this year's #1 spot on our top 100 solution providers list.
Well done, CDW. Well, that brings us to the end of the Channel Innovation Awards. And if you can believe it, our AV team says they've worked through all of Luke's technology challenges. Luke, any last words as we wrap things up? Well, Luke, Thanks for playing along with us. I guess you and your cat are watching the Habs. We'll try again next year. If you are a top 100 solution provider, you'll be receiving a digital badge you can share on social media, on your website, or in any advertising campaigns. If you are a CIA award winner or one of our top 5 solution providers of the year, your physical award should be arriving in the mail shortly. And everyone who attended today, thank you. Thank you to those who donated to the Food Banks of Canada. You'll also be receiving a conference evaluation form, which we would love for you to complete. You'll also get a downloadable link to the benchmark report. And why not connect at an upcoming ITWC flagship event? May 11th, we've got MapleSec. We've got Canada's Top Women in FinTech and Blockchain celebration on June 1st. And the Top Women in Cybersecurity on July 28th. Thank you again to our sponsors, Ingram Micro, HP, VMware, Island, WattServe, Samsung, Okta, Usonic, and Centrion. We couldn't have done it without you. You'll find today's stories on Channel Daily News. We encourage you to share your success stories and also the challenges and the many important conversations you're having with partners and customers. It's so crucial that we all stay connected during this time. Until next time, please be safe and healthy and throw kindness around like confetti. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next year.